name's Kayla McIntosh, and I'm your sociology teacher. Actually, intro to sociology. You're in high school now, and you've probably had an intro to psychology, or understood maybe kind of like what sociology is through learning psychology. So out of you guys, how many of you have actually taken a psychology course or a social science course dealing with people? Okay, all of you, that's great. So you might not be totally oblivious about what we're going to talk about today, okay? Okay, I'm going to discuss the 5 main social institutions that are core to me as I was a student, but they're probably going to be the core 5 main things you need to know for this course, okay? We're going to be focusing on the family, or the family unit, and then we're going to focus on the schools, or the educational realm, religion, and then peer groups, and the media. Okay, so these are the institutions or the realms of your life you spend most of your time, you interact with most of the people, and you get a better idea of your own perspective by understanding other people's perspective, and that's the whole purpose of sociology, and that's what makes it different from psychology. Psychology is the study of the brain, individual cognitive processes, structure, intelligence, understanding with one person. Not very generalizable, but with sociology, through methods and research, understanding masses of people, and how your perspective relates to others. There's 3 other ones that are not really my big, types of concepts, but the economic, political, and community realms of institutional understanding, okay? Okay, so what is a social institution? Now, before reading this definition, I kind of want to get an idea of what you guys have, your take on it. So, if I have volunteered, how many of you would like to answer this? So, what in your mind, before reading the definition, do you feel is a social institution?
Yes. Well, when I think of social institution, immediately I think of school, because that's one of our first lines of socialization within a big group outside of our family. So typically, like your family, it's sort of like you know them, but then with other people, you start comparing yourself to them and see how different they are. So that's kind of what I think.
Perfect, and that's what sociology is, seeing the differences from your perspective, visualizing others' perspectives, okay? So here's my proper definition that I prefer to use in this classroom, okay? And the social sciences institutions are the structures and mechanisms of social order and cooperation governing the behavior of a set of individuals within a given human collectivity, which means we're not focusing on the individual anymore. We're focusing on how that individual has a place in the world of society, how society is structured, hierarchy, personality, and perspective. And here is a visual of the kind of structure that I'm going to be focusing on in this class. The individual is what we talk about more on a micro level, your perspective, your thoughts, how you feel about things. Then it moves on to the family, which is an institution I've already talked about, and that is where you start to interact with people in your family, not just your parents, but extended family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, granddaughters, sisters, brothers. And then you have the community and the culture around you. That could be your neighborhood, that could be extended to even your church. Your church would probably be an institution within that. Then the society. This is more of the macro level, although we can actually go higher, and we can think of like the world, different countries, East Asia, Afghanistan, things that are big in your mind, that's how you can remember it. Society is a macro because it's macro, okay? So next, I'm going to ask you what your perspective is, and we actually have a poll here. And since my link is not working, I'm going to copy and paste into a new browser. We go. Okay, so this is going to be a poll, very interactive poll to get you guys thinking on a basic level about sociological thought, okay? So the question is, which one of the following institutions do you feel influences you the most? It's more of an open-ended question, but I had to make it, multiple choice, make it a little more closed-ended. So if you think peer groups, you're going to text that code to that number there. If you feel it's your family, you're going to text that code to that number. And if you feel it's social media, then you're going to text that code to that number right there. And this is going to try to get you guys thinking about where you feel the people influence you the most, environment influences you the most, and how you feel. So far we have one with the peer group, and that's actually not surprising, especially when you're in high school and you're starting to make more friends, form those cliques and those groups, okay? Wow, okay. Each of you chose each one, so that's great. That's great, awesome. So we're gonna go back to the slide here. Okay, so now that I got you thinking about those institutions and how you see yourself in them, which is what sociology, like a thought, is all about, we're going to talk about sociological imagination, which kind of sums up everything I talked about so far, how you see things, how your perspective changes, alters, how it stands with other people. So the sociological imagination was created or coined by the American sociologist C. Wright Mills in 1959. He's actually one of the very few American sociologists. Usually sociologists come from other countries, or usually Russian or German, like Karl Marx or Emilie Durkheim, those types of people, okay? And the definition I prefer to use in this class refers to the ability to be aware of and understand the relationship between the individual and the larger society, the capability to shift from one perspective to another. And what we're going to talk about next is one of the grand theories, which is social interactionism, which is actually at more of the micro level, and there's two other grand theories. They're called the conflict theory and the functionalist theory. We won't get to that today, but we're probably going to get to that tomorrow. Okay, so I want to emphasize more of your point of view and analysis. So symbolic interactionism is one of the grand theories that is actually really important with your day-to-day interactions, with your friends, with your family, with your pet, with your, objects in your life. It's how you relate, feel to, points of view, whatever. This is what you do on a daily basis. So it's the study of the patterns of communication, interpretation, and adjustment between individuals, okay? It's a face-to-face thing, and that's how you can remember that, face-to-face social interaction, okay? And then I also have this over here on this side, the macro and micro sociology. I've already touched on this a little bit, but this is just to recap and kind of put more emphasis on these two realms of sociological thought and analysis, okay? So the macro perspective is the study of social structure and institutions, and the position is within a social structure. The status, roles, and institutions determines human behavior. This is more of the larger type scheme of things, cultures, neighborhoods, things that go beyond yourself and your smaller units of reference, okay? And the microsociology perspective is the study of social interaction. Social interactionism, not that hard, right? So human behavior is based on individuals' interpretation of a situation and the meaning they give to it. Everybody's interpretation is different. Everybody's perspective is going to be different than yours. It could be the same situation, same thing, and they're going to view that whole situation, a test, a car accident, as how somebody's facial expression. They're going to view that completely different than you, and that's okay. That's what sociology is all about. So I have one more poll for you guys. So my question for you is, I just went back to the last one. That's not good. Here it is. Okay, so my question is, does the social interactionist perspective represent a macro or a micro level theory? We just reviewed this. What you're going to do is choose your type of analysis over there and text that code to that number up there, and I'm going to be able to see what you guys think. We just reviewed it. Remember, macro is big, micro is small, and that's gonna, really gonna change your perspective on things. So text your code. I have 1 for micro, 2 for micro, and 1 for macro. I know who that was. Okay. So today I introduced you to social interactionism. That's one of the grand theories. And tomorrow we're going to touch on functionalism and maybe get into a little bit of conflict theory with Karl Marx. So that'll be really interesting. So that is the end of today's lesson. Any questions, you guys?
So for the last poll, was it the answer macro or micro?
Micro. Social interactionism is micro, it's little. It's face-to-face, it's individual to individual. Is there any more questions about what we covered today, or even about what we're going to cover tomorrow? Okay, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.